Cha 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 cha. Welcome back to Politics as usual. I am your host, Eric Wright, and we've been gone for a few weeks, but we are back bringing you some new topics, new information for us to discuss, talk about the overall look at things, and give it the black perspective and the overall perspective. Since the last time I seen you guys, there's been a lot of political things going on. There's been a lot of back and forth with different countries. Of course, the debacle in Israel is still going on that we spoke about. And to give you updates on that, not only or have Israel done things, unspeakable things to the people of the Gaza Strip. There's been unthinkable things done to people that was out trying to support, trying to help, and trying to give aid to the millions of people that are scattered and displaced from their homes. And the people that's delivering food was even bombed and killed. So we want to keep our prayers in mind for them and also the people in the Gaza Strip, because this unimaginable terror that's been going on, many people don't come back from that, especially as a group of people. So hopefully they can do a ceasefire and that can end. But since the last time I seen you, in the state of Alabama, remember we reviewed a few political races, and remember that race, that commissioner race. I actually ran that race, and it was for the second district, commissioner district, and I lost that race by over 1,000 votes. But it really showed me a lot in the community that I'm in. I'm in Montgomery, Alabama. So I was running in Montgomery County. Montgomery is distinctive, to say the least. If you live in Montgomery, you may believe that what people say in Montgomery usually goes for the rest of the state, or the rest of the state is within that kind of understanding. But as you go on and you find out that the things that go on in Montgomery is a microcosm of a much larger environment, because the rest of Alabama does not prescribe to their way of doing politics. Case in point, I was unfortunate enough to lose in that race for county commissioner, but there were over 10, 15 people that was running for the second congressional district. The new maps that were drawn up to be more considerate of the population and giving the district the ability to have a Democrat to win that seat, considering the population. Now, everyone would think, if you lived in Montgomery County, that the person that was in the runoff, Anthony Daniels, was going to win it wholeheartedly. You saw the opposition that I ran against jump on the bandwagon and support Anthony Daniels. You saw most of your elected officials, the base who's who of Montgomery and the surrounding, supporting this guy, Anthony Daniels. And you must have thought, because they bombarded you with this information and put it to you and pretty much told you, like Joe Biden did, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. Almost like, if you don't vote for this person, Anthony Daniels, you are a goddamn fool, and you should be whooped and flogged or something like that. But we saw on election day, and what I was saying from the start of everything, number one, when a person runs for office, you want to know the area that you're running in, and you most likely want to live in that area. Unfortunately, Anthony Daniels did not live in the area, even though having roots and grew up in some parts of the second congressional district and the parts that he grew up in. The population is so small it wouldn't even make a difference. Considering his opposition, Mr. Figures was in Mobile, and Mobile population and the way they do politics is totally different from Montgomery. And with Mr. Daniels not doing well in the Mobile area and Mr. Figures doing great in the Mobile area, winning over 90% of the vote down there, and also winning a great piece of the vote in Montgomery County. It was a landslide victory, and it also showed Alabama. It showed the puppets that are in Montgomery pulling strings and trying to make everyone feel ashamed, or almost like politically shaming people that don't believe in their way of politics. They were shown that nobody believes what you believe, thinks what you think, and nobody is under your understanding. Montgomery does not control the political landscape of Alabama. Actually, if you look at each city, each region in Alabama, Montgomery may be lagging behind them all because it does not have a current identity, and this proves it. You cannot make people, force people to become a part of your machine, and if you don't want to become a part of the machine, then you're ostracized. So let this be a lesson to the who's who of Montgomery that want to force certain candidates down your throat, because they've done it multiple times before. Look at the city council. You have people on the city council that probably, I know for a fact, they never seen most of their district. I know because I was with somebody that was in opposition and we were there. You didn't go out in the streets. You didn't meet people. You didn't let people know who you are or what you was about. But you had somebody from our community that brought you into our community, let you shake hands, let you smile, photo ops, and everywhere. And through this word of mouth, you are able to pull votes from your community for a person that don't give two red fucking cents about your area or your concerns. Now, this happens a lot in Montgomery, and you can see the demographic of who's in ownership of most businesses, most properties. You can finally see that Montgomery has been sold to foreign investors and corporations, and the time for a regular family, a regular Joe that wants to do more for herself or have visions or dreams or plans to do certain things is greatly limited in the city of Montgomery, and this is why. They want to force you to be one way. And for us to be successful, we have to remain diverse with different groups, different communities coming together as one and then making a difference. But this is politics as usual, and I wanted to give you those updates. Now, I've been seeing a few things going on, and it's been very upsetting because it's about children. And I found that reading some of these articles, I've seen a pattern to where protection for children and labor laws are being relaxed, stretched, and given companies and corporations the ability to hire on younger and younger people. And also, there are multiple locations and multiple businesses that have been caught fucking red-handed with minors in their facilities working and doing all kinds of things that they're not old enough to do. So, let's kick this off. Yamaha and John Deere has been ordered to pay 1.5 million in profits after the Department of Labor found children illegally employed. Tough Torque, a Tennessee-based factory, authorities found 10 children working oppressive labor, citing one child operating a power-driven lift. A power-driven lift. How is this possible? So they're subject to pay 1.5 million, and it goes to the victims. 296,000 in fines from the Department of Labor. Now that was in Tennessee. So is these things really being rolled back? So I took a look at some of the proposed legislation for different states, and I found that 6 states were attempting to roll some child labor laws back. That's Minnesota, Wisconsin, Ohio, Arkansas, Missouri, and Iowa. All have introduced bills to change child labor laws. This doesn't surprise me because technically it's a labor shortage. And if you have somebody that can do a job that doesn't take a rocket science to do and is repetitive, with let's say people of Latino descent and other people actually coming and not speaking the language or able to finesse a ID or some paperwork to say that they're older, those kind of instances are also happening because it's a labor shortage. It's set to be 10 million open jobs and 3 million people that are unemployed. Since 2018, child labor laws and fines has risen by 69%. Even here in Alabama, there was a case 2 years ago with a supplier of Hyundai in Alabama that was caught using a child in their factory. No fines or disciplinary actions have been released besides making it public that they did find a underage worker, and it was a person of Latino descent. So those things are out there. If you think that history doesn't repeat itself, there was a time in the Industrial Revolution where most men were out fighting wars. Most men was out fighting wars, and most women were helping in the war effort, whether it was to build bombs, provide food, or medical attention. The industry turned to the most vulnerable, and that was children. And they had children working long hours in factories with hardly no ventilation, where children died. Children had limbs cut off. They was totally dismembered, disfigured. And this was a huge problem in the United States. And this is why these laws are in place. What we can't do, what we shouldn't do, and what we ought to do is, one, protect these child labor laws. What we shouldn't do is try to roll them back or tear them down. Whenever a wall is built, whenever a door is closed, before one wants to tear down that wall or open that door, you must ask yourself, why was this motherfucker locked in the first place? Or who the fuck built this and why? And is it keeping something behind there that may harm me or endanger me? These are things that we have to think about. And if it won't harm or endanger me, will it harm and endanger my children or their children? So this is why we have protections under the law to make sure that bad actors do not exploit the most downtrodden people because people are resilient and they were trying to make a living no matter what. Remember, this is politics as usual. If you can't keep your mind off the bullshit, you always get fooled by it. This is politics as usual. If you can't see through the bullshit, you always get fooled by it. Keep your head on the swivel.